Welcome again to Multilingual Zotero, an experimental variant of the main Zotero client that is designed to serve the needs of scholars working across multiple languages and scripts. This whole screencast thing is a new experience for me, and as those who know me will tell you, I'm not very good at multitasking, so if I occasionally lose the thread while trying to run the keyboard and tell you what I'm doing, please forgive. We'll take it slow and see how we go. In our first session, we had an entry that we wanted to decorate with additional multilingual fields, and we registered the languages in the system through the Preferences panel for that purpose. Now we'd like to actually add the multilingual metadata. Now you'll notice that there is a thin blue border around some of the field names here. Those are fields which are multilingual enabled, which means that we can add multilingual metadata to the field content. And we do that using a right click. And so we'll start working down here and begin with the title and give this a romanized form, which means we need the right input method. And then we'll carry down and do the series, which gets the same treatment. This is so seki, and we want to have so seki senshu for this one. Alright, and then we carry down and we want to register a transliteration of Tokyo, which would look like this in Hepburn. And for the publisher, we'll give this as Iwanami Shoten. Alright, and that does it for transliterations for the main fields. Now we'll scroll back up here and try to take a look at a translation. So we'll do an English of the title, which is I am a cat. And that does it for the translation here. We needn't have a translation of the series, but we could do that. We could add a translation here so that we have Soseki. Soseki is commonly referred to simply by his given name, but overseas we'd probably use the full name. Then for the place we want to have the English of Tokyo, which of course is a little different. We don't use diacritics in English. And for the publisher, we'll also do that as simply as Iwanami, which is probably the way we would refer to that publisher in English. Now going back up, we'll want to add the phonetic here in hiragana for this. That's going to look like this in hiragana. Waga hai wa neko de aru. And for the series, if we do hiragana for the series as well, then that's going to look something like this. So seki sen senshu. And for the place in hiragana, this would be Tokyo. And for the publisher, this would be the literal transliteration of the original field content, which would be Iwanami Shoten. There we are. So now we've filled out all of the ordinary fields, and what remains is, of course, the author. For this, again, we right-click over the label, and we're able to get the same new entry with the same label for romanization, and this will be done with. Now we need to get the right input method going here. That's going to be something like this. Soseki is going to look about like this. Soseki. There we are. So now we have a romanized version of the title, of the author's name, sorry, and now we want to have hiragana because we may want to sort on this author's title, author's name. Now we're going to need Japanese input for this. There is Natsume, and Soseki will be like so. Alright, so now we have the author's name transliterated in two forms. We have a translation of the title, and translations and transliterations throughout. So this entry is basically done, and we're ready now. We would be ready now to carry forward and generate bibliographies and citations with various combinations of scripts. Before we go there, though, we'll just point out a couple of additional features of the item panel in the multilingual version. To delete an entry, for an ordinary field, you just delete the content and it goes away. And then it can be re-added, of course. We do want that. So we'll try to turn off our input method here and say I am a cat. And for authors, of course, deleting multilingual entries works in the same way as you would normally do for deleting a main creator entry by using the minus button. And in addition to that, the one final point is that for the main entries, for example, title, or for author, to add a tag showing what the language of the headline entry is, you can use a left click, and that will enter that will enter what you select from the menu. In this case, we have only one selection in the menu, and so it just jumps to that. And the same for author. And so now we have the author as Nihongo, which it is, and we have an English translation of the title, transliterations, transliterations of the author name, an English translation of the series name, transliterations, and so forth. So we're now ready to go. We can now generate bibliographies and citations using this entry, and we'll look at that in the next session of this series of screencasts. Thank you very much for your patience.